Welcome to the Adult Algorithm Podcast, the How to Adult podcast.
First of all, if you don't have a planner, get one.
I don't know
this
how
ain't
you,
high school.
I don't know how you survive.
There will be no sugarcoating whatsoever.
This is the hashtag No Sugarcoating podcast.
And I'm your host, Jasmine Johnson.
You're like the best influence and the worst influence all in one.
Are you ready to grow into your potential? What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Adult Algorithm, the How to Adult podcast with your host, Jasmine Johnson. Hi, everyone. I have recorded this intro 10 million times. It is only 10:30 a.m. I don't know why my brain is buffering, so we're just going to get through this together, okay? Hi, welcome. Happy Wednesday. I know it's not a Tuesday. Honestly, all me. You can totally blame me. That's a-okay. If you are new here, hi, welcome. I'm so excited you could join us today. We are a podcast all about helping you grow into your potential, learning the things that we did not learn in school to help us become successful adults. And today's episode is not an exception, of course. If you are not new, thank you so much for sticking with us through 30 episodes. It's been an amazing time. I get to talk to so many awesome people, and I'm just so glad to be the host of this podcast. And again, today is the 30th episode. How and when did we get here, everyone? What is going on? Not only is it the 30th episode, but we also have a brand new topic because it is June, and that topic is, drumroll please, social media. Why are we talking about social media on an adulting podcast? Well, I'm going to tell you. It is a very, 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 very big topic in our culture, in our lifestyle as millennials and Gen Zers, because our parents did not have social media growing up the way that we do. I mean, everyone that I know will always have their phone in their back pocket, in their hand, somewhere in their vicinity. I don't know a lot of people that aren't going to leave, that are going to leave their phone just home if they're going out or something like that, just for like security purposes. I know I have everything on my phone. I have, my wallet on the back of my phone, as you could all probably tell from all my mirror pictures. But it is a huge part of our culture. This podcast is not only talk about the things that are just, written out on paper, adulting type things like taxes and buying a car and renting an apartment, but it's also about the lifestyle and things like self-love, things like relationships, as well as social media, because it is such a big part of our culture. So why not take the time to talk about it? There's so many things to talk about. Social media is always changing. It's so fast, and it's a big reason why this podcast is successful as well, especially if you're an entrepreneur. We talk about entrepreneurship so much on this podcast because I think it is an awesome topic and so many people are interested in it, and I think that's why social media is going to be an awesome topic for this month. Just had to explain myself, give a little disclaimer really quick. This episode is going to be so amazing. I have invited a very special guest on who also happens to be a sorority sister as well, and she's a woman of color and an entrepreneur and everything you love and a role model. Seriously, she also happens to be the graphic designer, which I know I give her that title. She does not give herself that title, but I give her the title of the graphic designer of the Adult Algorithm because she has done so much for this podcast, the rebrand, the logo, helping me with social media, the algorithm, which we're going to talk all about today in today's episode. So I'm so excited to have her on, and let's get right into the episode. Y'all grab your notebooks, grab your pens as usual, because you're going to be learning so much. Here's Ashley.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ashley Annakie, and I'm an entrepreneur in Providence, Rhode Island. I studied communications and entrepreneurial management at the University of Rhode Island, but I'm originally from New York and Connecticut. You can check me out on Instagram at Ashley Annakie. My businesses are shop.pour and thejerkyard.ri on Instagram as well. Pour is a candle company that's launching this upcoming Monday, June 7th at shoppour.org, and you can find a whole bunch of handmade scents and candles that's made right here in Providence. The Jerkyard is also a Providence food pop-up that's having a next event on Saturday, June 19th or Juneteenth, which is also a Black holiday. Come say hi and celebrate with some of your favorite American and Jamaican food made by yours truly. I absolutely believe that life is what you make of it. Not everything may be sunshine and roses, but taking things little by little and setting long and short-term goals for yourself help you achieve what you want. If you do need help with entrepreneurship and advice, I would love to help you as I did with Jasmine and the Adult Algorithm to build your brand. Yeah,
That was so good. An icon,
Thank you.
an intro icon. Okay.
Uh, really, thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Yes, I'm so excited you could come on. First of all, thank you for helping me rebrand my entire podcast and kind of branch out and, help me connect with other podcasts as well, because through you helping me, it makes it look like a more professional podcast. It's, really hyped it up more than I could ever imagined it would
Mhm,
be in a very small podcast community.
mhm.
And yeah, because of that, I've been able to meet a lot of people. So thank you for helping me like with graphics and Instagram and social media and everything.
Of course, you have a great concept, so it's really easy to help somebody who has amazing concept that they want to produce. So I'm more than happy to help you out.
Yes, work. Okay. So first of all, you have 5 Instagram accounts, right?
Roughly. So I have my personal account, I have a graphics account, I have the 2 business accounts, and then I have my dog's account. Of course, I have to have
Work.
an account for my dog. He's cute.
He's cute. He's cute.
He's-
Got so many portrait pictures of him.
I know exactly 3,000 to be, of course.
Love it. Why did you get into social media? And also, when did you get into social media?
Social media was pretty natural. I got into it from a young age. My dad's also an entrepreneur. He has a whole bunch of different businesses between here in the US and Jamaica. So seeing him utilize social media for his businesses and branding was also really important. And then a lot of the times we would be driving and he would be giving me the phone. He's like, Ashley, tweet this for me. Or Ashley, go post this photo of us that we took on Instagram. And then he'd be telling me, he was like, dude, hashtag this, hashtag that. And I'm like, why are you using these? And he would go ahead and explain a little bit behind. And then I would start to do more and more research for it. And then I would come back the next time he was doing a post. Oh, dad, we should try and do this one next time and this one next time and see how it helps us out.
I love it. That's awesome. So from a very young age, you've learned not only how to do social media, but you learned how to do it the right way.
Yeah, and also for a business too, which is really, really important. So you
Yes.
definitely have like the personal side of social media, but using social media for business is completely different.
Yes, I love it. And through that, you've helped, like I said before, you helped me completely rebrand my podcast. What was your process through helping me rebrand? I hit you up because you were suggested to me by one of our sorority sisters because we're in the same sorority.
Yeah,
What?
shout out
Love
to
it.
DeFi.
Hey. Um, and you were suggested, I was like, oh, duh, like what kind of question is that? Of course. So I hit you up and you gave me a big to-do list. And what
Hmm.
was the process through
Definitely.
that?
So I believe you need to start with what do you want yourself to look like? What's your end goal? And then start working backwards from that. So it's okay, what are different social media accounts that you like? And it's okay to like and reference other different social media accounts because you're always going to have a sort of inspiration. And a lot of things do come naturally, but it's going to be what do you see outside? What do you see when you're just going about your day? And then different brands online. So pulling together a list of different brands, different things that you enjoy, color palettes are going to be the start. And I love utilizing Pinterest for that because Pinterest, I can add things, you can add things, which we did. I started getting color palettes, and once I started to understand what your vision and your idea was, I was able to start putting behind the brand categories for like, what's the color palette? What are going to be our logo designs? What are going to be our sub designs? Everything like that to start building from there. And then as well, like I said, it's going to be what do you want yourself to be known as? So you have what you're looking, and then what do you want yourself to be known as and working behind that. So if we want to be known as a podcast, that's going to be about adulting and how you can maximize your potential. All right, so who should we be working with? What are those different presences online and what are they doing right now? And what are the different bits and pieces that we can pull from that? A great way that we started reconstructing your hashtags was to be looking at people who are major into the podcasting community and what hashtags they're using and how those hashtags are popular and how you can also integrate but vary your own with others that are going to be high trending.
Oh my gosh. Is that
It's
even English?
honestly, sometimes I don't even know myself. Sometimes like if it sounds good, it sounds like it works, but that's life. I feel it's like smooth as a duck on top and then you're like paddling as much as you can below. But building a brand, it takes time. It's like, it's a story. One chapter, of course, is going to be better than the other. Some chapters in the beginning might not be as good, but then also you have chapters in the middle that might not be as well. But it's always about evolving and never being complacent with what you have. Like, I always look at my work and see different places that where I can retune. And I even said to you, as I'm looking at stuff, I might go ahead and just start mocking things up as my technique improves, and then just send things over for you to update your logos. Since as a designer, who I was 10 years ago is definitely not the same designer as I am right now. And I would love to go ahead and consistently keep up with the people that I work with as I'm refining my technique and learning more and more about the process.
Yes. And you had also mentioned online presence in, the process. How important is it for companies to utilize social media and utilize their social media presence?
I think it's really, really, really important. Oops, sorry, I did not realize my video cut off. Ooh. Good? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's really important for brands and online presence to utilize an online presence, because that's where a lot of people are going right now, especially because of the pandemic. Before I even go into a restaurant, for example, I immediately look up the restaurant, their Instagram, what are their policies and their menu. I go into the restaurant prepared. And I think every business right now really should be looking and ideally set up for that. People need to know what they're going into before they're even going into it right now, especially with policies. Things are lightening up, and just to set proper expectations. Your online presence is what a lot of people are going to first, and it's setting that first impression, and you really want it to be a good first impression. If the website's going to be a little bit on an older version or a little bit more antiquated, that is going to set off a lot of people. Primarily, that's going to set off a younger generation and a younger market. So if it takes longer to load, that's also going to be another thing. How accessible are your links? Is it easy to get to your orders? Is it easy to get to your menus or to your social media? Also, contacting. How fast can you see your address and your email and your phone number? Those are a lot of things that brands forget to put readily accessible online, and it leads to a little bit of some hiccups and bumps, since a lot of people don't want to spend the time looking for things, and will spend about 35 to 45 seconds looking for that information. If they can't find it, they're just going to be ahead. All right, let me go find something else. So having that presence is like, and keeping it up to date is pretty pristine.
Yeah, that's huge, because I feel like, especially in Rhode Island has a very the restaurants here are run by, a lot of older people, especially when you do go to like Federal Hill or even sometimes their street. If you go on their websites, you can tell how old the software is, like how old the website is, and it's like, it's a great company. However, that is definitely a turnoff for, younger consumers. So I completely can see where that really is a downfall for some small businesses.
Yeah. And especially now for small businesses, there's so many different softwares that are going to be free, low cost, or taking a small percentage of their costs to go ahead and help them facelift everything. I absolutely love, and this is not sponsored or anything like that, but Square is amazing. Shopify, Toast. There's so many different softwares and hardware that people can incorporate within their small businesses to help them build a better online presence and branding. And it's very easy to use, and it's very self-guided. But if people do need help with that, I'm also more than happy to help them set that up.
Yes.
And train them.
Shameless plug work. I love it. And my next question is basically kind of going off of that, is websites for small businesses. Do you suggest them creating a following and gaining a following first and then getting a website? Or do you suggest getting a website right off, the gate and then building it from there?
As a business, you should always have a website. That's going to be that should be your first things. I know a lot of people historically are using social media as their following page. However, you do not own the rights to your social media pages. If that page gets shut down, if something happens to Instagram, that's where you lose everything. So where are people going outside of your social media? And that should be your website. So that your website should be your main page where everything is your hub. You post all of your updates, everything through there, and your social media is your accessory.
Oh my gosh, love that.
And that's where I really think it's at.
Yes, exactly. People need to get it through their head.
It's hard too.
Yeah.
It's hard
talking
to.
about
Social
it
media is
without.
easy. You're comfortable with it. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, you don't own Instagram. You don't own the rights to Facebook, Twitter, everything like that. And if something were to happen, if your account gets flagged, anything like that, it can instantly get taken down because it is also an automated software. So some things do slip through the cracks, unfortunately. But at least with a website, you have a little bit more layers of protection since you own the domain and you're actually publishing that yourself.
Me talking about it without a website, I'm like, oh my God.
Don't worry.
Please.
Don't worry. It
We're on
happens.
it. We're on it.
I
We're
also
on it.
plug
We're
my
getting on it.
Instagrams instead of my websites too, but you also have to know your market, but you can
Yes.
find everything through there.
Yes. Do you use Linktree?
I do use Linktree. If you actually go to my Instagram, you're going to have a Linktree bio, and then I have my website. I have a link to all of the different businesses and a couple of different updates as well.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah. I saw it when I first started the podcast. I saw my boyfriend's brother using it for his podcast, and I think it's awesome. And a lot of people, there's some on Canva now. There's a bunch of different ones. So if you have a business that you need different links to, 1000% use that instead of just sticking with one. Yeah,
absolutely.
Love
Linktree,
it.
and then you have your website. You can have an update if there's anything new, like you can have your website, any new products you're doing. If you're a restaurant, you can have a quick order now button versus your website, contact us, and have all of that information readily available in different links. So if people are going to your social media as their first destination instead of your website, they still can find everything pretty quickly.
Yes, love to see it. And still going off of social media a little bit, how are you with your 5 accounts able to gain such an organic following?
A lot of it does take time. It definitely can't happen overnight. That's where I think it's really great to, one, start with a variety of hashtags. So posting ideally is going to be nice to post every day, every other day. If you can, maybe depending on your niche and your category, might be twice a day, and do hashtags. A lot of people have started to lure away from hashtags, but the way that I've started to use them is I do a lot of periods or bullet points, and then I'll have the hashtags in the bottom. So one, it encourages people when they're just viewing the post to press more, which counts as an interaction through Instagram, which I'll talk about later. And then the hashtags will then be at the bottom. So people aren't going to be seeing the hashtags in the post. On average, I'll have about 15 to 20 hashtags in those posts, and all of them will be a variety of different things like the location, the business itself, different categories that it relates to, and they'll also be randomized. So I have a major pool that they'll be pulling from, and then I'll be pulling 15 hashtags from there using a software, and then it'll automatically use those 15 hashtags. So it's going to be all different relevant hashtags, but different hashtags each time. And that's for on Instagram's way to get across all of the different markets and to populate on different feeds, since it doesn't know what to expect from you. So it's going to go ahead and promote your post a little bit more, since it's going to be a variety. If you're using the same hashtags in the same format, it's actually going to dull or mute your post. So it's not going to be popping up at the top of people's pages. So using a variety of hashtags and changing them up a lot is going to help your post get a lot more and stay in people's pages, which is going to make people want to interact and follow you more. So that's one way that you can help build an organic following, is to start using hashtags a little bit more, but also interacting with everybody that's on your feed and within those hashtags. So not only do I use those hashtags, but in the morning when I wake up, start my day a little bit, I'll then hop on Instagram and go through the different hashtags that I've been using in my most recent posts and like all of the different recent posts and interact with them. Some of them will be comments. If it's different information, I can go ahead and oh, I absolutely loved this, and commenting relevant things to encourage those people who are viewing your comments to then view your profile. So having good information and just not being very basic about it is going to make you seem like a very real brand, which is what you are. And you don't want to come across as almost like a phony, especially on social media, because it's very easy to see it. So starting with just being genuine and utilizing hashtags to your advantage and just being a little bit more, I'm not too sure even how to say it, but just to be a little bit more interactive with hashtags will definitely help, because it's going to promote your post because you're utilizing those hashtags and you're liking those hashtags and you're interacting with hashtags that are on other posts using that hashtag.
Yes.
Yeah. Hashtags are super underrated.
They really are, and they're slipped on because they're kind of looked on as something that's not cool anymore. I've seen so many TikToks, so many people that, micro influencers that, just like you said, you use the dots and it compels people to click more and the hashtags are right there. But in your original, like, first glance, the hashtags aren't there. I think when people see hashtags in the first glance, it kind of throws them off a little because it makes it seem like, I don't know why, because, when hashtags first started, it was huge, right? It was all the rage. It was all the rage.
Everybody had so many different hashtags, like 45 hashtags in a post. It was like hashtag happy. The entire sentence would be hashtags.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Now Instagram's limited us to 30. And now when you use hashtags, they push your content up more because so many people don't use them anymore because they don't think that it's cool or it looks cool. I don't care. I want my content to be pushed out.
Exactly.
I will be using.
Yeah.
And
when people press that more button, it also is telling Instagram on the back for their algorithm, oh, people are interacting with this post. Let me go ahead and promote it more and put it more and more on higher people's feeds. Yes. So those small interactions, even if it's just more and people realize it's a hashtag and they're continuing to scroll, pressing that more button tells Instagram to put your post higher. Yes. And also the save and the share are also two underrated tools. Just saving a post, even if you're not going to be doing anything with it, will also tell Instagram, all right, this is a popular post and this is generating a lot of good feedback. So let me go ahead and promote this to more people. Another easy way to get on the Explore page.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's huge because the algorithm changes so often. It's so crazy.
I constantly search. I just go ahead and do a basic preliminary search, like Instagram algorithm, current month in the year, and just read up on different techniques and tips and tricks that's been rotating. But there's small different things that people can do to add and have a big result on their account. And doing that hashtag shuffle and that hashtag variety is definitely one way that you can.
Yeah. And I know I've even utilized it through my personal Instagram, and I posted a Black Lives Matter post not too long ago, and I could not believe the push out it put with me just using the hashtag Black Lives Matter.
Especially right now, a lot of people are trying to get more involved. So hashtags are a great way, not even just for Black Lives Matter, but for other people just to find things that they like, that they want to get more involved in and connect with.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about social media. That's the beauty of social media. It allows you to connect with things that you want to get more interacting with, or just to start expanding your horizons and learn.
Yes, exactly. And that's how I kind of look for guests as well, because I'll look up, hashtag adulting, hashtag adulting 101. Even on TikTok too. That's how I found a couple hashtag career development, recruitment.
Exactly.
It's that's how I find a lot of my guests, because through that, it shows that they are having the same mindset as I am through, let me use this to find other people, to help other people find my content, to help them out. So
exactly.
It's huge, and people are going to get sick of us talking about it, but I don't care. Use your friggin' hashtags.
Exactly. Use your hashtags, and also use your social media for your business as well. Just like you said, you're able to find people. You've had authors, you've had so many different people in the past featured on the podcast. However, an author is able to emphasize their platform and their books through social media, and that's how you're able to connect. Yes. So social media is a great way, like we said, to build a great interaction with your peers, with your audience, with your fans and your consumers, but also make sure you're directing it again to what your product is and what you're trying to sell. Yes. Always bring it back to your brand.
Love it. And how has social media grown since you started using it over time?
Social media has grown exponentially. I mean, I'm only 24, so I feel like the beginning for me was a lot of MySpace, and that's my first real interaction with social media.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's not even the first. That's really not even the first. But with MySpace, that's where you started to see a lot of bands. They would have pages on MySpace advertising their music. And then you would obviously want to go to their concerts, and they would promote all of everything through there. And then from that, you had Facebook, and small companies or larger companies would start having advertisements, and you would be liking all of different brands and everything through Facebooks. I feel like social media is a modern form of commercials.
Mm.
Honestly, it's a modern form of advertisement for brands and businesses, and that's really what it should be. You should be advertising your business on social media because it's a great way to interact in a natural way that's very direct and that's instant. Whether commercials and advertisements, those aren't really a way that you can interact with a brand, but you can leave a comment on a brand's profile to go ahead and interact with them. Like, oh my God, I absolutely love this, or this is something that I didn't like, and other people can see that. And it's also great because social media, I mean, now it's a little bit different, but social media cannot be or should not be doctored as much. People definitely do like removal of comments and stuff, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes.
But
Love
social
to
media
see
has
it.
definitely changed. I think they're interacting a lot more with it. And I think brands are definitely realizing that social media, of course, is definitely here to stay. And you should start catching up with it rather than falling behind.
Yeah,
hmm
definitely. And what would you say, like, is the difference between branding yourself as like a content creator and branding your small business on social media?
A content creator is sharing things that they are doing about their day to day, whether that's going to be about like beauty, fashion, lifestyle, anything like that, gaming. Those are all going to be like different forms of content creators. If you're a business or a brand, like one, you should make sure that it's an actual business, like you have a sole proprietorship, your LLC, your partnership, it's a formed business. You have your DBA, your license, your EINs, all you should be registered as an actual business, as an entity in all forms. Also, what product are you selling and what product are you promoting? Influencers and content creators, they are promoting through different means, different stuff that they come across, whether that's going to be, oh my God, I'm doing a review for a product that I bought or something that was sent to me and you're adding your own opinion on it. A brand is creating something or is buying something and reselling it to go ahead and make a profit directly. Like you're going to be a company and you're actually going to be selling stuff is going to be your main premise ideally. Or if you're a restaurant and you're selling food. Content creators, definitely two different categories. However, they're going to be hanging out in the same boatload. Content creators work with a lot of businesses and businesses, of course, work with a lot of content creators.
The circle of life.
Of course, because content creators, those are going to be, I feel, the pillars of social media. Content creators are going to have a great social media and following. However, their website is not going to be their emphasis. And restaurants and brands and businesses, their website should, of course, be a little bit of a major emphasis, but also their social media. A lot of us do find restaurants through their social media. However, we're not buying through their social media. You can, however, like right now, Instagram has shopping features, but if you're going to a brand and you're going to a company and you're doing business with them, most of the time you're doing that on their website, you're doing that in a brick and mortar location, or you're going to be reaching out to them directly to do that. With content creators, you're mostly interacting with them through their social media presence.
Gotcha.
And you're truly not really buying anything from them, unless it's like really merchandise. But you might be buying something that they recommend and use a promo code so they receive a commission or a portion of that sale. Or you might be clicking their links that also give them a commission too.
Yes. Huge.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
And also two very big different ways for tax filing that you might be able to talk about. Yeah.
Oh, that has to be an entirely new episode.
Absolutely.
And what would you say is like the hardest part about having social media in this day and age?
Consistency. I would say it's really big on consistency and trying to learn the techniques as they're coming out. That's where I feel like content creators are absolutely amazing because they're able to figure out what the new things are, whether that's like Reels. Reels and TikTok have been two ways businesses are really starting to come alive. They're short, they're sweet. You're able to fit a lot in a small video, and then it gets people to know more. And once the businesses are starting to utilize that, that's where they're seeing, oh my gosh, I'm having such an uptick in traffic. And that's where I'm really starting to see changes in my metrics and my analytics. However, as a business owner, as somebody who's running a business, that's another layer and another piece for you to then learn. Most small business owners are doing everything from A to Z, and to then have to learn social media on top of it and stay up with all of the different trends. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of pressure. So I definitely understand how businesses can't always stay consistent with it. So that's where doing things like batching your content creation or using something like Buffer, which allows it to plan out and post automatically for you, takes off a lot of stress. And if you can have maybe like one day a week or one day every few weeks, and you can batch a lot of your content and plan it out, one, it gives your social media a seamless look. since you're not worrying about, oh my God, I have to post for today. What am I going to post? And randomly tossing something up. You're planning everything out. You know how it's going to look, and it's going to be able to be posted in the proper times. So it takes a lot of load off of your back, and you can just look and see, all right, it's doing its job. I have my hashtags being varied. The posts are being done at really great times that are popular with my people and my followings, and it's just doing it. It does it for you. I always believe in using like a lot of automated stuff if you can.
Love that. Are there times in the day that it's best to post?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every brand is going to be a little bit different depending on what your niche and what your category is. You can go ahead and dive a little bit deeper in terms of that research to see when your best posting time is. But Instagram will show you underneath analytics when followers are looking at your post the most and when your followers are the most actively engaged. So combining those two of them to figure out your best posting strategy would be the best time.
Yes, love it. I think that's a myth that people think it's a myth, but it's not. The stats are right there in front of you on your Instagram. So,
and Google is free. It's when is the best time to post for so-and-so. And then it's also going to be based on your location, based on when things are going on. And think about it like time. When I was in high school, this is the way that I used to take advantage of it. I used to wait to post on Instagram until right before school let out because everybody would be on the bus scrolling through Instagram. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to wait. I think we got out at like 2:35. So I'd post it at like, maybe like 2:00 or so. So by the time everybody got on the bus, all right, that would be the best time. People are scrolling on their phones and they're definitely going to see it and like it.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild. So smart. Love that. And last but not least question, what is your biggest advice to, entrepreneurs that want to start out and want to utilize their social media for their businesses?
I think the biggest thing is just start. It's super intimidating. It's very daunting. You always feel like things may not be perfect. I'm that same way. I'm a very big perfectionist, and it's okay. Like I said earlier, it's a story. There's going to be up and downs. And as long as you're just doing something, you're doing something. That's way better than just doing nothing. Something is better than nothing. And you can always refine things as you're improving. And as well, if you're obsessing and yet you haven't even posted or started to sell anything, you can't refine your process without having capital and without having resources. People are going to love your stuff regardless. And same thing, like your content was absolutely amazing before, your content is absolutely amazing now, but just having minor tweaks along the way is definitely something that you can also do to help broaden yourself. And it's just always, just start. You are your own person. And I always feel that we get so gung-ho and so worried about things, but just get everything going and things will fall into place. The first 5 years for every business is always going to be a rocky start. So always take that into account. Things might seem stressful, things might seem bad, but there's always going to be the light at the end of the tunnel for things to start going up. And then reach out. People, it doesn't have to be expensive, but have your friends share your posts. I always have a small group of friends that I'm like, hey guys, I'm about to post. Do you mind sharing this for me? Do you mind liking, commenting, and doing a little bit of some outreach and some help for it? Because that also plays in a matter. Like your friends in your tribe should definitely want to be supporting what you're doing and your businesses and your platforms. So they should be more than happy to go ahead and help you in the ways that they can. Everything doesn't always have to cost money.
Yes. And if they don't support you, get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly. You need to have people who support you in your endeavors.
Yes, exactly. Love to see it. I love it. Thank you so much for all your advice. Oh my gosh, that was iconic. Do you want to shameless plug one more time your companies and businesses?
Absolutely. If you definitely need help with graphic design, entrepreneurship, or in general, just a little bit of some consulting to bringing your brand up, you can definitely reach out to me, whether that's through my personal Instagram, Ashley Annakie, or my graphics account, Graphics by Ashley A. In addition, you can definitely see two of my businesses as well launching again. We have Pour June 7th. That's going to be shoppour.org and at shoppour on Instagram. And that's going to be candles, home decor, and a lot of handmade items. And if you like food, Jamaican Caribbean food specifically, which is also going to be really, really spicy, which is my favorite, that's going to be at thejerkyard.ri. We have a pop-up on June 19th from 1 to 6 at the Taylor Shop on Broadway here in Providence. And it's going to be a great time. There's going to be music, food, people hanging out outside, and definitely some candles there.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Great. It's been really cool. Oh.
I love it. Thank you. That
Of
was
course,
fabulous.
absolutely. I feel like I've always been helping out on like the backside of things, so it's very interesting to be on like the front and answering the questions.
Yes.
Feel very put on the spot.
As you should.
I hope you all enjoyed today's episode as much as I did, as usual. What an amazing interview. Absolutely love Ashley. She's so amazing. So much insight on social media, which we all, are wondering all of these types of questions, and to get them answered is absolutely amazing. I did not mention the small business or platform highlight of the week in the intro because I figured that we could just absolutely highlight Ashley and her amazing talents and her businesses that she mentioned a couple times in the podcast. So please go check those out. They're going to be in the link in the descriptions. We're going to highlight her because she deserves it, and I can't thank her enough for coming on. And as usual, if you want to follow us on our podcast journey past these 30 episodes and for the rest of our social media month, I would absolutely love that. All of our social medias are at the adult algorithm, except for Twitter. It's adult_algorithm. We've been making more TikToks. We've been making more reels, more content. Twitter's still a struggle, but we're working on it. But please follow us along. If you want to give us a rating, I would absolutely love that on Apple Podcasts, on wherever you can. And constructive criticism is my middle name, so please give us a review. I would absolutely love that. And as usual, we will see you next week to help you grow into your potential. This is Jasmine with the Adult Algorithm signing off. Bye.